Tonight, we have our first look at Season 3 of The Runaways, plus Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season finale next week. Where are we going? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, that's what I always say when we watch Legion. We'll talk about that too. We've got a couple of big rumors and some videos from Xia's trip down to Comic-Con. And let's not forget to wish Marvel a happy 80th birthday. We'll talk about this and more. Marvel TV Weekly starts now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey! It's Marvel TV Weekly. I'm Christian Black. That over there, that's not me in the corner. That's not me in the spotlight. That's Xia Anderson.
Oh my God. That's not you in the spotlight.
No.
Hi, I am Xia Anderson, and we have a lot to talk about, so I'm really excited about this show.
Usually not. Usually you're like, I can't believe I gotta go all the way in there on a Sunday.
Mostly it's just because you're here, and
Look,
I'm like,
that's the way, everybody in the chat is thinking exactly the same thing right now. But one of the things we're going to do is we are going to talk about your time down at Comic-Con, and we have some exclusive videos that we didn't have time to show last week.
I never get tired of talking about it.
We had a lot of fun showing off some of your interviews. And if people didn't check them, take a moment to talk about some of the people you talked to and where they can find them.
Ooh, okay. So everything you can find on YouTube. I did get to interview, that's the word I'm looking for, Jim Starlin, who created Thanos. He created Drax. He created Gamora. He did not create Adam Warlock, as I found out while I was interviewing him. Look, I did a lot of research. It was a lot. But that one, it escaped me. So that you can find on YouTube. That's another Popcorn Talk. I also got to interview Jeff Ward, who you might know as... Yes! Yes. And for some reason, her name always... Thank you, guys. In the chat, they're just saying, welcome back, and I'm back. Hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to say, why don't you share with the rest of the class? Don't just pass a note back to
just
Gamer Girl, whoever's in there. Yeah.
And for some reason, her name always, I just refer to her as Daisy in my head.
Of course.
Chloe Bennett.
Chloe Bennett.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
and,
great.
Both of them at the same time. That was really fun. They're so much fun.
They were having a lot of fun in that
Jeff
interview.
Ford is just like happy to be there guy.
Oh my gosh.
Which I love so much because his energy is so great.
Yeah.
Ming-Na Wen and Clark Gregg. That was a really fun one.
What did she say to you before the interview started?
She walked up to me and she said, "Look at you, you're so cute." And I was like, ah!
Yeah, so Agent May, who beats people up all the time, thought you were cute. So it takes a lot for her to think something's cute.
I know, and she was the absolute sweetest. Also, by the way, the original voice of Mulan. Did anyone know that?
No,
yeah,
really?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea. Wow.
Anywho, so that was exciting. And then also I got to talk to Jeff Loeb, who is basically the head of Marvel TV, and another Jeff who is a writer on the show.
Yeah, the other Jeff. I forget his name.
There's Jeff and Jeff.
Yeah. So you can find all that stuff. Well, actually, I guess
on YouTube.
The Jim Starlin one was for Popcorn Talk. But then all the other ones are the AfterBuzz. If you click on the channel that says Red Carpets. We mentioned that last week. We showed little snippets from each of those. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about your time at Comic-Con in a moment, but I wanted to get to some big news. The first is that we have a Season 3 teaser. It's not really a trailer. It's a little teaser trailer for Runaways. And the first thing that I'll talk about is that at the end of it, it mentions that Season 3 premieres December 13th. Now, Season 1, they dropped like 3 of them, and then they did the rest week to week. Season 2, they dropped them all at once, right before Christmas. It drove me crazy. It took me forever to get to it.
I remember that.
So I couldn't quite tell what they were doing this time, and maybe they don't know yet. I would be so happy if they didn't put all of them out there at once.
One at a time,
Not at
please.
Christmas time. What are you doing?
No, we've got too much going on.
But I think it's probably because I'm not part of the demographic. The demographic they're going for is like on Christmas break, and they're probably like, "Oh my God, this is so great! I have a whole like superhero show of." My age bracket to watch. So I guess I'll catch up whenever I can. But I'm excited that it's back. And by the way, next week is the season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we've only got a couple more episodes of Legion. So as far as we can tell, there will be no Marvel TV until December 13th. Not this show. We're going to find stuff to talk about. There will be no new episodes on TV. So
look, let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments below. I know we talked about it in the comments below, in the chat and in the comments. I know we like briefly talked about this and we did not decide on anything. How would you feel if I went back and watched older seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we talked a little bit about that?
I think that's a great idea.
If that's something you guys are interested in. Because I need to.
I would rewatch best I could too. I would try to, keep up with you and see some of that.
I really want to get to Ghost Rider because he was brought up in this last episode. Oh, yeah. He brought up Robbie Reyes and Ghost Rider, and I was
really hoping we see him in the season finale.
Bring him back.
That's really what I want.
To ask him something, be like, help us, please, Robbie.
Yeah, we need help. So let's talk a little bit about that teaser trailer. So you watched it, and what are your thoughts, Xia?
Well, it just looked like everybody was messed up. And I honestly had no idea what was going on. They were doing some sort of ritual, like in somewhere in their house. I don't know. It was basically chaotic. It was just a quick teaser. Yeah, I don't know.
So I saw it and I looked at it, and in case you didn't see it, and it's not really spoilery because I don't think it's anything that really happens. It looks like Chase is having a dream and everybody's like almost dead and they're about to sacrifice Gert in one of their little rituals there on the floor at their house. And I'm like, none of that would be happening. I mean, everybody sure could be almost dead. This could be a premonition, but I don't think that that's going to be something that's actually happening in the season. I mean, it could be something that they're worried about that maybe almost happens. But I don't know. I just don't feel it. But let us know what you thought for any of you who saw the teaser trailer. And I'm seeing in the chat that season 3, all episodes are going to be at once. Well, it's great. I'll watch like 2 of them before Christmas.
Damn it.
But we'll see what happens. But in any case, it's good to have a date for it because I remembered that last year it was right before Christmas. So I kind of thought maybe we'd get it in December. But I think it'll be good. Now, Xia, you have a little bit of a complicated relationship with the Runaways.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. But it is by no means my least favorite. So there's that.
Is that Cloak and Dagger? Yeah. All right.
Even though that last season did start to grow on me in the second half of it, I don't know that I need another. But
another season of Cloak and Dagger. Hey, they haven't officially announced one yet.
They haven't, but I have a feeling that we're most likely going to get it.
I feel like we'll get that.
It's been successful enough. Other people aren't as bah humbug as I am. And Runaways is just,
Hey, we love Nico.
We love Nico. I do love
awesome.
Nico. I do love Nico.
Yeah.
She's like the saving grace for me in that show.
Yeah.
Gert bothers me a little bit.
I do like Old Lace, the dinosaur. I think that if it turned into like a buddy cop sort of road trip show where it was Old Lace not driving, although that would be amazing.
That would be great.
And Nico, that'd be a good show for me.
That's enough. Kind of the rest of them can go.
So we're looking for Ghost 8386.
I know, Boozy. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so excited that we have a date. We'll probably start to learn a little bit more as we get a little bit closer. And I saw Jenna James mentioned in the comments, when we have all these weeks where there aren't new episodes of Marvel shows, that we could focus on the comics. I mean, there's a lot that we can do. I think there's a lot we can talk about.
There's a ton.
We can talk about, past episodes of shows we like, but we can also bring in the comics. And I think we'll do a lot of those lists. I think those are fun episodes where we, of this show, where we pick our favorite things.
Yeah, that's always fun. It's like a nice trip down memory lane, too.
But even when there's not actual TV news, there's news that ties into the TV universe. There were a couple of rumors that I saw over the weekend in a few different places. And I always try to take these with a Galactus-sized grain of salt.
That's a big one.
That is an enormous sized grain of salt. Like if you think about him putting salt on the earth before he ate it, it would be huge.
It would be huge. It would crush everybody.
It would be like Rhode Island. He would just shake it out. And a lot of these come from websites that are looking for clickbait, and they reference anonymous sources. But it makes for good conversation. So this is one of those times where I actually don't like to credit the source because I think they just did it for the attention. But I'm going to take it anyway. Ooh. If you Google this, you'll see it out there.
I think I might have read this.
2 things. One is that Daredevil would be rebooted as an MCU film.
I did see that.
And I wanted to get your reaction to that.
That.
Yeah.
So for anyone who can't see him
slap the table,
banging on the table,
Yeah.
I read that same article
Sure.
and was like, you have no real source, but I want this to be true so badly.
Right.
At the same time, they're talking about recasting, and again, this is like you said, a giant grain of salt. But I don't know. Charlie Cox is such a great
He's so good. He's a great Daredevil.
Yeah,
but
I just don't. Just do me a favor. Just don't cast Ben Affleck again.
I think that it's a safe bet that no one's
Probably
going
not.
to cast Ben Affleck
No.
as a superhero again. I think
know.
we were
They tried.
but I didn't think he was a bad Batman. I liked him as an older
It was
Batman.
not his fault
Yeah.
that those movies weren't great.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's not like the problem was like, well, Batman's old.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't Batman in Gigli? I don't know about
Silhouetted Animator says there's no Daredevil reboot coming. You're probably
this.
right.
You're probably right, but
we want to
look,
pretend.
as an idea. I think
great idea.
that it starts to make a little bit more sense. And because there was a separate, also clickbaity article that said that they were developing Heroes for Hire for a movie, which Heroes for Hire would be, of course, Power Man and Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand. And I would love to see all of these characters back. And I think there's something to be said for the idea of having them in the movies.
Just make us a Defenders movie.
Right. But I think they would recast everyone. And
Probably.
I find it hard to imagine that they would use the same cast. I think though if they kept anybody, it would be Kristen Ritter. Because that, I feel like, is pretty tough to replace Jessica Jones as anybody else. The other ones, you're like, yeah, you could probably get away with it, you know?
I don't know, Daredevil, man. And also the Punisher. They're just so good.
He's the one that I think that even
Luke
if it took them like 5 years to get a Punisher movie together, I think John Bernthal would still be available. Frank can be a little bit older. It doesn't matter, actually.
It doesn't. You're
Honestly,
right.
he could be making Punisher movies 20 years from now, and I think they'd still work. You know,
I actually agree with you.
Old man Punisher. That'd be great.
Like Old Man Logan?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd love Old Man Punisher. In fact, let's put that out in the universe. Let's get Old Man Punisher as a comic, a movie, TV show, whatever you want to do. So I think that it would make sense that we would see these characters in movies somewhere down the line. These are very valuable characters, especially Daredevil, and to a lesser extent, Power Man and Iron Fist. But I think that that's where we when we see them again, I think they'll be in films. And, that could be like phase 7. But I still think we'll see it.
Yeah. And then maybe they can do another deal with Sony and we can get some Daredevil and Spider-Man action going on.
Please, yes.
Right?
Yeah, that would be great. So, I don't know. And look, the main point of the articles, and I guess I should use air quotes because they're clickbait, but was this idea that clearly they don't consider the Netflix shows to be part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, when Doctor Strange opens all those portals in Endgame and the Defenders don't come out of one of them, you're like, okay, so I guess they're really not like legit a part of it. Even though they reference, they're at the New York Bulletin where Karen works, they have framed newspapers about the attack of New York and all this other stuff. You get the feeling that they're just like, yeah, we're gonna, especially now they're no longer making them, like, we're gonna kind of forget those.
Yep.
We're gonna take a look at these characters. And does that bother you? And are you still able to be excited about seeing these characters in the movie side?
I mean, I would absolutely still be excited to see them in the movie side, just because I think they're great characters, and you could take them and reboot. If you're going to reboot it, you could reboot it, and it would still be fine. They're characters that worked really, really well as a show, because you got to do like really great character arcs throughout a bunch of episodes in a season. The only thing that I would say is like recasting is going to be tough, but I'm sure they're going to do a good job. Honestly, Marvel and Disney has not let me down with casting. There's not been one casting call that they've made where I'm like, that sucks.
No, there've been some where you're just like, okay, I guess.
Right.
And then you see it and you're like, oh, that worked.
It works. Like whatever it is, they managed to figure it out. It's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to be fine. It is a little bit annoying that they didn't acknowledge it in the MCU though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And again, we don't have a lot of faith in the reliability of that information, because I think that it actually says in there, well, someone told me, and I'm like, all right, nobody told you anything. Stop. Like, you don't have friends, okay?
You don't have friends.
A little bit more TV related news. One is that Disney Plus will be available as an add-on to Hulu.
Oh,
So
snap.
it'll be one of you'll have to spend a little bit more, but I think it won't be the full $5.99. At least I don't think that's how it'll work, but maybe it will. Whatever the case, look, I'm getting it no matter what.
Yeah, I'm going to have it.
And I was so excited to think that I could avoid getting it until the Marvel content started. But then right here on this panel last week, our friend Zach Wilson was sitting in and he reminded me that The Mandalorian, the Star Wars show, is going to be on when it starts.
Yep. So that's going
So
to
I'll be getting that.
reason
also,
number one.
I have 2 kids and it's Disney. And especially if they have DuckTales on there, I'm like, for my son. Although, I like DuckTales.
I'm going to watch DuckTales.
You can go over to my house and watch DuckTales.
I'm going to come up. It's going to be me and Felix sitting on the couch, chilling, watching DuckTales.
Yeah, well, Webby's his favorite, so be ready for that.
Aww.
Yeah. So, anyway, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And are you, what your thoughts on Disney Plus? Are you impressed enough where you're like, I guess it's another thing I got to find the $5.99 for or whatever it is.
Honestly, I was gonna get it anyway. First of all, my husband is 100% gonna want to watch The Mandalorian,
Yeah, sure.
and I'm gonna want to watch it too. So we're getting it for that no matter
Right.
what. And just all the other shows coming up. They had me when they're like, hey, we're gonna have Tom Hiddleston as Loki. We're gonna have Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. Just all of those. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, okay, yep, sure, you got my
Yeah, and it's
$5.99. I
like,
gotcha.
Even
We're
though
doing
it
this.
seems like all of the Hawkeye show isn't going to be about Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton as Hawkeye, but
Maybe
he's
we'll
still
get
in
to
it. He's still in it, though.
He's still in it.
And we've got Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've got we've got Sebastian Stan. We've got Anthony Mackie. So
Yep.
those shows are going to be great. They're going to be like
Totally
little mini
cool with all
movies.
of it.
So take my money, Disney. You already do. And
And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of other random Disney stuff on there. I'm going to
Yeah.
want to watch. Maybe I'll watch one of the live action remakes one day. Maybe. Oh, there's a lot of
I don't
singing.
know. Yeah, there's a lot of singing.
Maybe
I saw
not.
the Beauty and the Beast, and I think I tapped out on the live action remakes after that.
I didn't even watch that one.
Really?
No, I haven't
Even
watched
though
any-
what's her name's in it from Harry Potter?
I know, and I almost
That's-
did because of that. And
Yeah.
Dan Stevens also, by the way,
yeah,
is the Beast.
Dan Stevens as the Beast is actually pretty great because I had a theory that I was pitching at the time that was actually kind of like a hallucination of David Haller's, that he imagined that he was the Beast.
That's
like
amazing.
He saw the cartoon movie, and then
And
he's
put
like,
himself
"What if
in
that
there."
was me?" One other piece of news that is interesting: there have been a couple of accidental possible leaks about season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So because this could be a little spoilery, I guess I should ask if people want to cover their ears. But the first one happened a little while ago, and I don't know, I just didn't notice it like at all. But there was an on-set photo where everything was made up to look like it was the 40s. And then your best friend who thinks you're adorable, Ming-Na Wen, posted, because they're actually filming the series finale right now, even though it's for next summer. And I know Chloe Bennett just posted the other day, I think maybe tomorrow's the last day. And whatever it is, very emotional. I get it.
Wow.
Yeah, because she's been on since episode 1. So, a lot of them have. A lot of the cast has really been along the whole time, except for you, Deke. But anyway.
We like him nonetheless.
He's great. But anyway, I think that what Ming-Na Wen pointed out was that I guess a lot of, I don't know, as a wrap gift, they all got these really nice bikes. And you were able to read who got them.
Like bicycles?
Bicycles.
Wow.
Like, not, like pretty, and if you think about those bikes, if say it's like a mountain bike, that sort of bike, they could be like $1,000.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good.
It's a nice wrap gift. I remember for a TV show I worked for, I got an iPod, and that was pretty exciting.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
That was back when iPods cost like $250.
Yeah,
So,
I remember that.
Yeah, right. And it weighed like 4 of your phone, but still.
Yeah, but you could have like 1,000 songs on there, which at the time you're like, oh my God, I could have 1,000 songs on there.
I was like Star-Lord when he got the zoo, and I'm like, you're gonna have 400 songs? This is amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's a rumor and an interpretation that season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. can and perhaps might include a crossover with Agent Carter.
Ooh.
And we would assume that would, of course, include Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. Now, very theoretical, but seems like it could be likely. Your thoughts, Zia, if we get if that's what season 7 is of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, I'm going to start this by saying I have not watched Agent Carter.
It's fine.
So-
Look, we've got a lot of months. You've got a lot of stuff to watch.
I don't have a horse in this race. I have a feeling other people are really excited for it because
But do you like
people
Peggy?
seem to. I do like. I love her
Yeah.
in the movies. I really do. And Haley Atwell is fantastic.
She really is.
Agent Carter is it like a legitimately good show? It's another one of
Yeah.
those that I kind of didn't give a chance because I was like,
I think they're both good. I preferred season 1, but season 2 was also very good. But I thought season 1 was pretty close to great.
Okay.
And then season 2, again, not bad, but I preferred season 1. And I think both seasons are on Hulu.
2 seasons?
2 seasons.
Okay.
So
That's quick.
I think 26 episodes.
That's not too bad.
So those aren't like because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. most seasons are like 22 episodes.
yeah,
So
I know.
it's
That's
a
what
lot.
and it was going through a time too where I had very little time, and I was like,
Right.
oh, there's no way.
So let us know what you think in the chat. Do you want the big crossover of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even if there's a little indifferent to it? And let us know. Are you seeing any rumblings
Well,
of what
War
people are saying?
Hero 99 says, I will be pissed if no one from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up on any movie. Yeah, I kind of don't see that coming.
Clark Gregg was in Captain Marvel,
But-
and that's kind of going to
That's
be all
probably
you
about
get,
it,
I think,
yeah.
in all honesty. I agree with you. That'd be great if they made some acknowledgement, but we just a minute ago were talking about it. They kind of have discounted the Netflix shows.
Yeah.
They sort of like,
They
those
do
are
it
like a
with
fever dream.
all the TV shows,
Yeah,
really.
I do think that we'll never have the real sense that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is fully canon part of the MCU, even though they treated it like that the first couple seasons.
Yeah.
I think the show has been great the last couple of years because they haven't worried so much about that,
Yeah, just let it take it, let it go where you want it to go. Well, Haywood Wong says, wait, Jarvis was in Endgame, so
Yeah,
there is
it's a
that.
great point. Yeah, there is that. I mean, Jarvis is a character that's a little easier to do with. I think once you bring Daisy and then the idea that, she's her inhuman parents and all that, it starts to bring a lot of things. Because, the one thing that it seems like everybody's going to discount is, speaking of television, the Inhumans TV show. I think everybody's just going to look at that.
Pretend like that didn't happen, I think is what that's going to be. And also Jenna James does say season 1 of Agent Carter was great.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Right.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, and the reason why I didn't say the actor's name that showed up because I knew I was going to get it wrong, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, it's really hard to say. So one of the bikes that Ming-Na Wen posted in her story, which has since been deleted, but the internet being the internet, somebody grabbed it.
Of course.
Enver Gjokaj, who played Daniel, who was essentially Peggy's boyfriend. They were basically, that's basically what they did, and now because of Endgame, I'm like, all right, well, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, she dumped him, is
Yeah.
what I'm guessing. Steve walked up and she's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, it's like, I was so nice knowing you. Oh, you're such a nice guy.
Yeah.
You're going to make somebody really happy, but you know what? Somebody else.
Not
Anyway,
me.
we'll talk more about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and also Legion in our final moments here. But I did want to share some of the fun videos and photos that Xia has from Comic-Con. And Xia, we didn't talk about it on this show.
No, we didn't.
We talked about it on my personal podcast. Plodcast is what some people call it because it does move along so slowly. So that was
Especially with the two of us.
That was a Freudian slip, but it
Ayo.
is a bit of a plodcast. You can find it at Blackcast, BLADTCAST. We talked a lot about what you did there in some of the interviews, and I actually was able to put the audio of these interviews in there too. So it's a little bit of one-stop shopping. You can go to blackcast.com, BLADTCAST.com. Now, we've got some photos, though. Let's take a look at some of those first. And any that you feel like need explanation, go ahead. For those watching on YouTube, you can just see somebody is happy to be at Comic-Con.
Yeah, no, that's just me being really excited. And this is Ryan, by the way, our producer in the booth, took these photos and the videos. We toured around Comic-Con together for a bit, and it was super fun. This is just me being really happy outside of Comic-Con.
Yeah, no,
I was
exactly.
excited.
And the best thing about just being at
This is
Comic-Con,
not Marvel related.
there's so much,
But
there's so much cosplay.
So great.
And Ryan, who does that a picture of you with? I didn't even realize. Cool.
Yeah. I was.
It's a great
I was
painting.
like, look at this thing.
Imagine having that in your living room.
Dude, I want it so bad.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, where's Thanos just strolling around.
That was a good get, Ryan.
I'm not saying that this is one of those, but my favorite when you're at something like Comic-Con and somebody has an amazing costume, but then they have like a fanny pack on over it.
Oh,
and you're like, well, you
no.
spent like thousands of dollars to be Darth Vader or Thanos or whatever, and you're like, and that's what happens a lot of times too when you have like the costume characters that want you to charge you money to take pictures with them, like here on Hollywood Boulevard or in Times Square in New York. But anyway, so what are some of the videos? And Ryan, I'll let you introduce what the first one is because I'm not quite sure what order we have these in.
Gotcha. So this is just Zia right outside Comic-Con, just talking to Marvel TV Weekly fans.
Hey, that's all of you.
Hey. It's you guys.
Hey guys, Xia Anderson here at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con 2019 for Marvel TV Weekly. We're gonna head inside and check out a bunch of like really cool stuff. We're gonna see if we can find some awesome Marvel cosplays. We're gonna talk to some people. We're gonna check out some stuff. Come inside with us. Hey guys, we found more
Hey,
Marvel fans.
look, it's Tony.
It's Tony Stark.
We have Black
And very serious Black Widow. Oh, she smiled though. Oh yeah, wait, who was the guy in the end? Star-Lord.
Star-Lord.
The monitor in here's a little dark, so it was hard to tell. Yeah. So these are some great cosplay. I love that he's doing the Tony glasses.
And the
you're gonna
facial
save,
hair.
You're gonna save a lot of money by not having to get the helmet. So I think that that's pretty smart. And he's got the facial hair. I know. I think that. He was probably just like he just went in with a picture and he's like, yeah, do all this to me, and I think it's great. Oh my gosh, is that?
Yes.
Look at that. Yeah.
And Miles Morales. Yes.
Yeah. It's a great Spider-Gwen. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Marvel TV Weekly.
Hey, that's
Look
us.
at 'em.
Hey, look, Ant-Man
That's
was
all
there.
of them.
Oh, that's great.
Doctor
Look at them.
Strange. There's Thor. Little crew. Yes, it was so good. It was so fun.
Yeah, it looks like you guys had a lot of fun. And
We did.
Ryan, you were only there for one day, right? But you... Okay, so you made the most of it. That's
Yes.
great. Anyway, very exciting, and we look forward to you going back
itching
next
my
year.
nose.
And who knows who you'll be able to know? Who knows what announcements await us?
I know. I'm
Anyway.
so excited.
And any movie news that's out there, you can see Zia and I talk about this Thursday at 1 Pacific over on Marvel Movie News. Our friend Zach Wilson will be on assignment, I believe, deep undercover for S.H.I.E.L.D., but our friend Angelica Trey, who I was on the Twilight Zone panel with, will be sitting in. So that'll be a fun conversation.
fun show.
And yes, we are going to talk about that deleted scene from Endgame that we will not comment on here.
Oh.
We're saving that conversation because it's kind of going to be a lot of the show.
I
Getting a
can't
lot of
talk
reactions to
about
it. Anyway, let's talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we had that possible teaser about next season, which is starting to make sense, actually, because they're dealing with the monolith and they're building towards this big conclusion for next week's 2-hour season finale. I can see a time travel aspect. Look, they did space last year. Let's do time travel in the last season.
Cool with that.
So I think that would be great. Overall thoughts on this episode and where the season has been building to, Zia?
This is a great episode. I really like what the season has been built to. This episode, we finally got all of the answers.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions except for where's it going to go, and I'm just excited to see where it goes,
Yeah, I like
which is
them.
nice.
And the effect for what Sarge does, that was part of the Ghost Rider thing, which you would have seen in season 4, and I'm
Yes.
sure you will see.
Yes.
I feel like that's where you're going to go next.
That's
is
where.
season
How
4
did you know? Because they brought him
I
up
think
twice.
we talked about it.
We did. Yeah.
So that's how.
Oh wait, we talk a lot outside of the show. Yes, we do.
Not that much.
No,
That's
no,
not
no.
true. We do talk a lot. So yeah, I think there was a lot packed into this episode, but when you think about it, the big stuff is all coming in the next 2 weeks. Well, sorry, the next week's 2 episodes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I think I didn't realize that until the end when they were like, next week's 2-hour season finale. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's it.
That's it.
So we're going to spend a lot of next week's show going over this whole season, that season finale, and our expectations for season 7. And our friend Rachel Goodman, who is from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show, she'll be sitting in here again.
Great.
And she'll bring all that S.H.I.E.L.D. insight because I think she's secretly a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, clearly.
I think she is, too. She knows too much.
Right. One of my favorite things about the episode, though, was watching Deke work with Fitz and Simmons. And I thought it was funny early in the episode when somebody referenced Team Fitzsimmons. I'm like, why didn't they just say Fitzsimmons? I'm like, oh, right, because Deke's part of the team.
Because Deke's part of the team.
What did you think about watching Deke interact with the team?
Okay, first of all, it was adorable.
He's like,
so
helping
cute.
out Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah, and it was just adorable watching him, too, in the background when they're kind of brainstorming, trying to figure out what's going on. And you hear, like, oh, it might be this, da-da-da. And he's like, yeah, it could definitely be that. And then Simmons goes, no, it can't be that. He's like, oh, yeah, no, it can't be. Like, just agreeing with them in the background was just too funny.
He's just super excited.
Yeah, he's just happy to be there.
And then there was kind of a surprising moment, the interaction with Sarge, where Daisy just flat out kills him.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, he's going to come back to life. We want to see how that works. Were you surprised at all that she went that far, that it was that drastic? Yeah.
No, I thought she was just going to hurt him. I thought she was just going to kick his butt for a bit. And then, nope. Sarge is dead again. He's probably wakes up and he's like, I'm tired of dying. What the hell, you guys?
Yeah, well, he seemed pretty angry.
Yeah.
You know?
But I did like that interaction a lot. And I just, they really flip-flop on that. It was, it bothered me only a little bit, the way it kind of took away from Daisy's sort of conviction that wasn't her Coulson. And then in the end, I knew it was going to happen. You know what it was? It was very, I saw it happening. It wasn't very, like, they didn't get me with it. I'm having a hard time phrasing that properly.
And it was a nice callback because before she realized her name was Daisy, she went by Sky. So the fact that Sarge called her Sky, and it's not something that he would have any way to know unless he had been part of being Coulson. So it was a nice moment for those of us that have been with the show from the beginning.
Yeah, there
seems to be something good happening.
There's a hashtag Boozia going on in the chat because I haven't seen all of the seasons.
But that's the impressive thing, that you can jump in season 6 and still really get as wrapped up and excited about these characters.
Yeah.
Don't boo her, because you'd boo her if she sat here and was like, yeah, I don't watch that.
I don't watch it and I hate it.
Right. If you had done that, but that's not true.
No, it's not true. I do like it.
Absolutely not true.
Yeah, no, it's easy to kind of get caught up in these characters, and that's a good thing. Like you said, you come in on season 6. I can only imagine how attached people get after watching all 6 seasons. So
yeah, no, the Fitz and Simmons, the road to them getting together will drive you crazy. And our friend Amy Cassandra Martinez, who watched like 100 of the episodes in the space of like a few weeks,
it's amazing.
She like really, went through that emotional roller coaster very quickly. So I thought it was very funny. There's really going to be a lot that happens next week, because we also see that the Chromacons are tired of listening to Atara, and they're also going to come back, which means that we're going to once again come back together, because that's a storyline that hasn't really fallen away entirely, but we just, this Azelle was at the forefront. So it's going to all come to head next Friday. And it starts at 8 o'clock, but it'll be for 2 hours or 8 o'clock. Unless you live in the Central Time Zone, then it's at 7. But it's that's when it's on, and it's 2 hours. So make sure to keep that in mind. And we will talk about all that next week. Now, we only have a little bit of time. No. And if there's not anything in the chat other than people booing you, we can move on to Legion.
No, there's a lot in the chat going on. But booing? It looks, a lot of booing. They're like, God damn it, Xia. No, it looks like they're really like getting very in-depth. But since we do only have a couple of minutes to get to Legion... So much to talk about.
And as I've mentioned before, I am part of the panel for the Legion After Show here at AfterBuzz TV, so you'll be able to find that tomorrow. Sorry. I was like, wait, it's not
Tomorrow's
next.
Monday.
Well, it'll also be next Monday, but I'm talking about just tomorrow
you could
at 9
sleep
o'clock.
here, and then it would be next.
I've thought about it. I definitely thought about it. And that's the other crazy thing, is that Legion is going to have its series finale August 12th. So we only have 3 more episodes.
That's
we have
it?
These next 3 Mondays. And that's why I'm saying that by the middle of August, we don't have anything new to talk about. So we'll let you know what we're in for. But give us your thoughts on, and we didn't really get, you didn't get a chance to talk about last week's episode either, chapter 23. So we've got chapter 23 and chapter 24.
So I wasn't here, and I watched both of them yesterday.
Right.
there's just there's so much going on. It's insane. It's been really, really good. It's been such a ride. I can't believe that this is the last season. Legion is one of my more favorite Marvel TV shows that they've done. I love that it's on FX. I love that Noah Hawley is basically the one that's behind this because he's done a fantastic job. He's been given a lot of leeway creatively,
because his Fargo is amazing. I say is because I believe there will be another season at some point. But this is on that same level, and the fact that it's a superhero show tied into the X-Men universe, and it's also like this quality of a show is great. Really impressive.
Jenna James, I'm sorry. Zia and Christian, will either of you be covering Amazon's The Boys? I will not because I most likely don't have time, but I will be watching it, and I will most likely.
Yeah, I'm interested in that show. And didn't you do an interview?
I did. I did an interview with 2 of the cast members, and that's also you can find on YouTube. Sorry detour.
Sorry to interject you guys. We actually have our The Boys after show will actually be tomorrow on AfterBuzz Sci-Fi.
There you go.
Superheroes
So
channel.
the same channel that we're on right now.
Same channel you're on right now. Tune in tomorrow for The Boys.
Let me put pressure on you, Ryan. Do you know what time? 2 p.m. Pacific. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, I definitely want to check that out, but I just started Good Omens finally, so now I have to get through that.
Only one episode in on that. Okay. Anyway. Actually, my favorite moment I'm looking back through my notes because we've talked about so much. Yeah, my favorite moment from it was episode 5 was we get to see Legion.
Yeah, and they refer to themselves as Legion. That was something that we were really excited about on the panel.
That was so good.
We are Legion. Yeah, I think that that was very important, and I think these 2 episodes have really gotten to the heart of the matter. A little bit of pun intended, unfortunately, as with Sid and David. I thought that they had a good interaction, and then she, of course, tries to be sneaky and steal his powers. And problem there is that there is the Legion of David, and you're no match for the Legion of David. So
unfortunately, no. But I did really love that moment when she is in David's mind and is like, "Where am I?" And they all come out and they're like, "Well, who is this? She's not us." And she's not us. I really like that moment. I really like that interaction. But yeah, she definitely made a mistake. I don't think that I think that David still loves her enough that he wouldn't actually hurt her.
Right. But that's our David. The other Davids don't know her.
That's true.
And they, might just feel that she's somebody who's in the way, and he's basically an obstacle to realizing their plan.
Well, and David is still basically stuck on his plan of going back and just fixing everything.
Yeah. Well, the episode ends, and I wasn't ready for it to end because David gets switched, and they're going to go back in time, and we don't see where. And I'm like, wait, I was ready for more. I actually hit the fast forward because I was ready for the next segment, and then oh, that's next week. But now it's tomorrow, so I feel like I'll be able to wait.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able. Usually, I wait and watch it on the weekend just so it's fresher in my mind because I don't do that after the show.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that this time. I might just end up watching it twice.
Right. Well, that's always smart. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll probably do that with the series finale.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it twice so that we can really dive into that.
Oh, it's going to be great.
That'll be on August 18th of this show. We will deal with the series finale of Legion. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question. That came out weird. I want to ask you a question about David and Switch. Do you think that he cares about her at all?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't see it. I think that I've talked about this before. I don't think that David is a bad guy. I think he's very, very troubled, and all he wants is love and acceptance, but he's also very, very selfish.
And I think that as the season's gone along, he's really gotten blinded towards
big time.
And he also thinks it excuses his behavior that he's going to go back in time and fix everything.
Yeah, he's being a little bit of a brat.
Right, and we talked a lot about that on the Legion After Show, this idea that it's well, it doesn't matter if I kill people because when I go back in time, it'll be undone. Right. But you're still the person that did it, you know? And it says a lot about Switch. Unfortunately, it's really sad because we see how much she wanted, she even said in the season premiere that she sometimes wishes she could be a robot because then her father would care about her. And when, I guess this is going back 3 episodes now, or two, I don't know. It's going back a few weeks when male Carrie, like rescues her. She's just like, wait, somebody cares about me enough to rescue me? This is amazing. So she was excited about that. Then David rescues her back from Division 3, and she's like, oh my God, this is so great.
So happy to see him.
So she's just anybody paying attention to her, and it's so sad.
It's really sad.
You're literally losing teeth because of this guy. And so I'm wondering if we're going to see that play out over the next few weeks. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna not end well for Switch. It's just a feeling that I have what they're building towards, and I'm just wondering if she'll try to fight back against David at some point. And he can make her do it, I guess, because he's a strong enough telepath.
Yeah, I mean, he made male Carrie do what he wanted him to do. Yeah,
and I thought it was interesting that we really got to see the extent of David's power because Farouk doesn't like what everybody else is doing in this episode. Mm-hmm. He very specifically
calls them cowards
and just tells David where they are.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wants.
I still don't understand how they're trusting Farouk. Has he fooled them, tricked them? So
well, that's what we've said. We've talked about it on the show and in the after show. Everybody has that little bug that crawled into their ear or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I guess that's in season 2. And there's some kind of suggestion that he's not this terrible guy that he actually is. And you can argue as to whether or not David's a good guy. I'll always say Farouk is a worse guy.
Yeah, and I think that too. And I think a lot of what I honestly think that if David does end the world, it's going to be because they brought it about by turning against him. I really do. And I don't think what he's doing, most of what he's doing is okay in any way.
Right.
But I do think that that he probably would not have taken this road or taken this turn if it hadn't been for them putting him on trial and him having to escape and feeling unloved and unwanted, which he has in his entire life, which is actually, again, really kind of sad because him and Switch are very similar in that way, but they're not finding that common ground because she's just looking for someone to accept her and he's just looking to use her. So it's like, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and speaking of unloved and unwanted, this has been a brutal couple episodes for Lenny.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That actually hit. That hurt. I was like, holy crap, Lenny.
Yeah. Whew. So, and, on this show, people's consciousness sort of lives on the astral plane. So I feel like we will certainly see her again, especially in the series finale. Mm-hmm. So interested in seeing how it all plays out. Let us know what you think in the chat. But we are out of time for this week. And so, as I mentioned, tune in for the Legion After Show tomorrow night here at AfterBuzz TV at 9 Pacific. And, of course, next week we will talk about the 2-hour Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season finale. We'll also talk about Legion, too. But until next week, Xia, where do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Xia_land. Also, check out the other show that I do. It's called It's Eric Nagel. You can find that on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts and radio shows. So check that out.
And as I mentioned before, you'll see Xia and I Thursday over on the Popcorn Talk Network for Marvel movie news at 1 Pacific. Our friend Angelica Trey will be sitting in with us, and we will talk about that deleted scene from Endgame and just how many tissues we might need for that episode. But that's all for this week, so we will see you next Sunday. Until then, Excelsior!
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.